Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have some pretty crazy news going on around here for the Nintendo community, where it does seem like the Nintendo Switch Pro has now been literally been canceled. Now, there's kind of a big breaking news, but there's also at least a little bit of good news too as well tied in with this one, and it does kind of also give us a little bit of hopium on the future of the Nintendo consoles. And as you guys probably know, the Nintendo Switch has been one of the best-selling consoles of all time, so it kind of also opens up another really weird debate of what's going to be happening next and what is going to be the next big step when it comes to the Nintendo Switch. So we're going to talk about this, talk about the drama, talk about the leaks and everything in between, and at least all those random videos we made back in the day discussing the fact that the Switch Pro might be real and might be ongoing, or at least having some pretty good merit behind it. So we're going to talk about this as well. So make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on as well. We have the Twitter and Twitch stream down below. If you guys want to follow and hang out there. We have the Target links, Amazon links too, and I appreciate you guys all so much for watching. Let's dive on in. So, as I've mentioned, right now, we've been kind of on this awkward, weird, like 7, almost 8-year window of the Switch, but it sold over 100 million Switches. And that kind of leads us to the fact that a lot of folks were expecting the Switch Pro to kind of just be the same exact console, or in the future, the next 3 or so years, you could still go play the same exact games, you know, say like Animal Crossing, Pokemon, Mario Kart, or whatever it may be, and it'd be fine, it'd be cool, it'd be chill. But the one bigger struggle is on the fact that, well, apparently it got canceled. But at least in the bright news, there's actually some maybe good news for the Switch 2 as well. Some big reports over here, and a lot of rumors, and especially from Digital Foundry, who is pretty reputable too, spun off a lot of these rumors, where the Nintendo canceled the Switch Pro in favor of a Switch 2. Now, maybe a good example for this is kind of a, well, very obviously explained. Think of a PS4, PS4 Pro, or, you know, then go into PS4, PS4 Pro to PS5. There's a difference, there's different games, it's like just a whole brand new console. Obviously very similar, but that's kind of what Nintendo might be doing. Now, obviously, the Switch Pro would have maybe been a better idea, because if you have just a slightly better hardware, such as a better battery, better CPU, GPU, kind of still in the same exact system, on the same architecture, then you can still, in theory, play the same exact games or do crossplay pretty easy. Now, the Switch 2 may go put a little bit of a stick into that one, because it might be a slightly different console. Although it might be really weird with so many people buying the Switch as of this second, so maybe they'd still be able to go integrate both of them. We'll have to go and kind of discuss and see. So a weird thing happened this past year, where Nintendo announced that the new Switch hardware would be coming to market, and the main draw was going to be this brand new OLED screen. And upon further examination, it was clear that there were actually no actual power upgrades to the unit, despite all the previous rumors. And it's kind of weird because they did have a lot of connections with all of these different games. So we were seeing connections with NVIDIA, contracts with them. We were seeing different types of CPU contracts that were leaked out that Nintendo was working on. We obviously knew about the OLED screen, I believe, from Samsung for quite some time, so we all knew that collectively something was coming. Although, sadly, it ended up only being the OLED, which did have a better screen and had a few other various upgrades, but it didn't really have a hardware boost. And for a console that's like 7 years old, and I think that's probably one of the biggest kind of critiques as of now, is that we need better hardware on our Nintendo Switches. I actually just finished up my Pokemon gameplay, and I beat the entire game, and while the game itself was cool, graphically was awful. Optimization was awful. It would take like literally like 5-10 seconds sometimes just to load a menu, and whether we're kind of spoiled both by PlayStation, Xbox, or PC SSDs, it's just not the wave. So basically the big clearer picture has actually now been apparently being leaked with this. So according to Digital Foundry, Nintendo was planning on doing a mid-gen Switch upgrade. So basically that was what we were assuming the Switch OLED was going to be, which has been called the Switch Pro. However, these plans were ultimately scrapped and worked instead shifted towards now the next generation Switch successor instead, which would have been called the Switch 2. So very intriguing to see this, because I think the OLED would have maybe been a Pro, and that maybe would have been a nice 2 to 3, 4 year buffer, depending on how long they want to do it, besides when the next Switch comes out. But maybe they saw that how well the Switch is still selling, even though the hardware is outdated, and how well these games are still selling, even though once again they're outdated, and maybe then with the semiconductor issues going on, and the inflation, higher prices, shipping issues, and delays, maybe they decided just to scrap it all in between. So that's like number one, it's bad news because we never got the Switch Pro we wanted. The Switch OLED did seem to be what we wanted in the first place. But also might be kind of good news too with the Switch 2, because that might finally be this next generational bump that we care about. It also might be the same thing where they might go and correspond this launch with maybe the brand new Zelda game coming out in the near future. So Digital Foundry goes on to say that no, we should not expect a next Switch in 2023, which in all honesty, I'm maybe a little bit of a rumor mill type person. I would maybe say maybe. Like, I never want to say never, especially with how big Zelda was. But they go and say that Nintendo is somewhat concerned about a launch of a follow-up system, given what happened with the massively successful Wii U and the disastrous Wii U. They don't want to replicate the situation. Now, I kind of think that if the games are good, and obviously, like, if there's a good enough reason, it might be good to do it, but I feel like you need to have a really big phase-out period. Because if you're someone who buys a Switch like 2 weeks before the Switch, like the Switch Pro comes out or Switch 2 comes out, I think a lot of folks are going to be somewhat disappointed because then they may have just wasted money. Families, parents, or whatever may not want to buy the next Switch. And like, it's just kind of like you got to spend $300 twice within like a 6-month period. No one wants to do that. So to go and say it's somewhat easy to see how we arrived here. The Nintendo Switch continues to sell massively despite lagging behind competitors in power, where in some cases it's pretty much almost 2 full generations behind as of now. And I would agree that probably is one of the biggest issues we've seen so far when it comes to these consoles. It's not a good experience, it's not a good vibe, and while the games themselves are fun and obviously good sellers, they could be way better. But the system and software are so good that it simply doesn't matter, so why waste the time on partial upgrades when everyone's perfectly content? But that's the thing is, I think a lot of avid gamers are not so content anymore. And the fact that we have to wait for this next Switch is going to be a little bit of an issue and kind of annoying. So as for the Switch 2 and Nintendo's potential concerns about it, they think if they can avoid over-Nintendoing it, it should be fine. What I mean by that is the Wii U was a failure because it was not really a successor to the Wii. Leaning hard on brand new gamepad gimmicks that never panned out nearly as well as the Wii's motion sensors. But from this time around, it seems pretty clear of what they want. And I think you guys can maybe leave your comments down below. I just think that people literally just want a Switch with better graphics and a Switch with a better GPU, CPU, and maybe better battery life. I'm not asking for much. Like, I just don't want my games that I play in like my Switch to be like a PS2, PS3 maybe quality game. Like, we're in 2023. I can see like people's like sweat like going down their foreheads at this point, their pores. On Pokemon, I just see like one color shell, if even that. Like, it's not even that good. Like, I think that's all people need. That's all I want. So they say this time around, it seems pretty clear that Nintendo fans want a next-gen Switch. Same. I want a Switch either Pro or I want a Switch 2. They literally say they just want a next-gen Switch. The Switch that has more power, kind of what I just said, even if it won't come close to competing with the likes of the PS5 or Xbox, which no one expects. But the Switch's hardware is badly dated at this point. And while some developers can extract more potential out of it more than others, across the board, it's clear that there are severe limitations because of the console's age. And the fact that it was when it was launched, it was already behind the PS4 and the Xbox One, and that's pretty much as is on this next generation vibe. So now it's a full generation later, and that gap is a chasm. So again, the Switch 2 does not have to beat or even come close to the PS5. I would agree on that one. It seems like the Nintendo's market is just slightly different. They're more laid-back gamers who just want to chill, sit in their bed, or kind of casually play on their TV. Like, think like a Mario Kart or like a Pokemon. They're not really stressful games. They're not games you have to really go and be like sitting up for. You can like lay on your couch and just casually play. Things like Stardew Valley, you know, things like Mario games, even Zelda games. All most of the time were pretty chill, laid-back games. And I kind of agree. Like, for me, like I said, for Pokemon, I just want the game to work. I want the frames to be consistent. I don't want to have to see these weird logs or bugs or issues. I just want the game itself to be proper. And I think that's why the Switch 2 actually might be kind of good, because it does seem like it's confirmed that it's coming out. And I'm sure it's already in motion as of now, and maybe we'll see even maybe more news in 2023, maybe announced possibly in like the fall and or released, or if they want to go and surprise everyone, maybe go and release it for the brand new Zelda game. Now, I don't necessarily fully know if it's going to be coming or not, because it's all based on leaks. I'm sure as it gets closer and closer and closer, people will be more and more intrigued on it. But once again, that's all I really want. Literally give me the same exact dock, same exact 2 Joy-Cons, but literally give me just a slightly better quality, maybe like a slightly better, more fine-tuned, smaller design maybe, if they can, you know, it's been like 7 years, they might be able to make it actually smaller, like phone and phone power, but it really doesn't make sense that like the PS5, Xbox, or even my own phone has better graphics and better resolution, etc., because all we want to have now is a Switch 2. So it's intriguing to go and see that the Switch itself is gonzo. Switch Pro doesn't seem likely, but I'm very intrigued to see what the Switch 2 is going to turn into, because obviously I want to play some brand new Nintendo games with it. So I would love to hear your thoughts and comments down below. And as well, if any of you guys are brand new, make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. We have the Twitter and Twitch stream down below in case you guys would like to go and follow. We have the Target links. We have the Amazon links all down below too as well. I just want to say I appreciate you guys all so much for watching here, and give me your thoughts and comments down below.